I'm going to dive right in because I've created a way for online coaches and healers to really match with the right clients through their messaging and marketing. I'd like to just invite you to think about where you are right now and have a quick audit whether any of these are your current or recent past experience. So shrinking your message is where you're someone who is probably super certified and certainly experienced, but you're not sure how to really express that with the expansiveness that really allows your best fit clients to just get it. You just don't know what to say. So you hide your brilliance, you shrink your message, and you're not really getting out there in your marketing in a way that really connects with those clients. Leads to us really blending in. We're in a busy, competitive space. There's not one of us that doesn't have others that are speaking about similar things that they might be offering clients. And we see other coaches and healers, and they're working with motivated, high-vibe clients. And we're thinking, well, hang on a minute, I'm skilled, at least as skilled as they are. And I want to be able to work with their clients and attract them too. I don't know how to stand out and really be that market of one that others talk about. So that leads us to often case over delivering for the clients that we do have, but we're over efforting in order to prove that we can really do this and give ourselves that self-belief. So we can expand in our messaging, but instead we tend to share it only in our containers and we keep giving whilst finding that we're not really attracting those empowered clients that allow us to run the businesses that we are most aligned with and to protect our empathic energy. I call this the misalignment gap. And we can find ourselves constantly moving through these three things. Well, you have resonated with any of them. I want to share where to focus your energy based on exactly where you're at. If you recognize shrinking your message, playing small, not expansively sharing what it is you have to share in your marketing, then I want to talk to you about elevated messaging. And I'm going to be sharing exactly how to do that today. If you're feeling like you're blending in and it's like a sea of competitive coaches, everyone seems to be saying the same, you're not sure how to position yourself and stand out, we're going to talk about expressed marketing. So you can market in a way that really attracts the people that you want to work with. And if you're in a state of over delivery, over proving, overworking, it's all about that embodied energetics. And actually, it's the three that work in tandem together that really creates the most remarkable change. And that is exactly what I experienced. Now, this took me 12 months because I had to work it all out for myself. I wish I'd had a mentor that could have shown me the steps. Now, I work with clients who typically go through a similar process in between 30 to 90 days. But this was my year, and this is the pathway that I now teach. Because I started off in that January, this is about 3 years ago, thoroughly energized, uninspired by my own offers, was trying everything, all the strategies. I was exhausted, frustrated, come out of corporate with this I got to do it, high expectations. I'm a firstborn daughter, all the things. It's like running, but yet it wasn't working. And it wasn't long before I hit burnout. Now, this blue line is my revenue that I was bringing in. And as I hit burnout, I completely bottomed out, no energy. And I started on this quest to find joy and sustainability in my business. And the first thing I realized was this idea that I really had to embody those energetic. And I looked at the clients that I was working with and I set new energetic boundary. I was like, I'm no longer available to work with clients who aren't going to do the work. I'm no longer available to work with clients who feel that they're never going to be a success. I work with clients who already know and have self-belief, and elevated the sorts of clients that I wanted to work with, which meant elevating the way that I worked with my clients. I then understood that my messaging was wrong. I was all about accountability and productivity and CEO strategy. And I wasn't bringing in the pranic healing, the spirituality, the mentorship that I do around the law of attraction. And I realized that actually my messaging wasn't who I am. And I was hiding that. I didn't want to talk about spirituality on LinkedIn because, God forbid, former co-workers in my advertising industry space might judge me. I was so trapped in fear of judgment, perfectionism. But when I truly started expressing my messaging about really what I brought, everything again, we had made a massive shift. That took a lot of confidence in me, but I reaped the rewards really quickly. And then the next stage was understanding that I needed to express that in my marketing. And that's where I led into the copywriting aspects of how to actually express ourselves in marketing so we're reaching elevated clients. Now, biggest mistake that I see people, particularly intuitive coaches and healers make, I mentioned earlier, is this misalignment gap. And although there are many ways we fall into it, so I'm going to share the biggest way that really keeps us trapped. And this is where we're focusing on more new, different marketing strategies over and over and over because we want to attract clients, we want to attract soul clients, premium clients. So we try all the things, right? I'm going to run a Facebook group. I'm going to market on Instagram. I'm going to start a new lead magnet. I'm going to do a big launch. We like constantly are looking for the next silver bullet. And here's something that I realized, having done that exactly myself, I was doing everything. I launched 3 times, launched a podcast, launched a membership, all in my first year. Didn't serve me. And my realization, and if you take one thing away today, I want it to be this. Any strategy can work for you, but only when you successfully articulate the value of your unique and intuitive brilliance, your gift and talents, and align that in your marketing. Now, I'm including 3 quotes from clients here because it really illustrates that you can get results no matter what strategy you're using, as long as it's aligned for you. This first client here, who's a growth strategist, who says, I did it, invested, knees knocking, and the first week I got 3 discovery calls, and this week I got 10. Now, she was using DM outreach, LinkedIn. It was an incredible strategy, and she filled her group program as a result of being crystal clear in how she articulates the value of her work and aligning that with a strategy that she absolutely loves. Client underneath that, 100K launch, so happy because they're perfect fit. She did a launch, loved a launch, went in for it full tilt and had her first 100K launch. And as for the other one who had 2 clients jump in before she promoted something, she's a intuitive life coach. And this was simply email marketing, sent a simple email, but she had such clarity. Now, how we get this congruent frequency to align with our soul clients is by bringing all 3 of those things through together. And a lot of business coaches, messaging specialists will teach you how to write posts. They might share their swipe files. But I discovered for myself first, and I put this into practice with my clients, is that actually we have to bring that energy piece in, which is often the missing secret sauce, even for intuitives like yourselves who are doing this incredible work with your client, but yet missing the energetic piece in your marketing, which may lead to you mismatching with de-energized clients or struggling to attract clients into programs that you're just not fully activating your own energy to promote. And look, let's go into it. And I know I don't need to educate you guys much on exactly the foundations of what I'm going to share because it's Abraham Hicks' emotional guidance scale. And I'm going to talk to you about how sometimes we don't create the energetic congruence to attract those aligned clients. And I've adapted this to explain my point. We all want soul clients at the top end, unless we're working in deep trauma or we're therapists, in which case, this may not be exactly right for you. Take what works and leave what doesn't. Most of us in our work are looking for elevated, very empowered clients who exist at the top end of the emotional guidance scale. They're passionate, they have self-belief, they're hopeful, enthusiastic, and really express a lot of those qualities when they work with their coaches. The problem is that at this point where we're feeling an almost energetic desperation to match with those clients, we ourselves are sitting usually in the middle portion of the emotional guidance scale. We're overwhelmed, we're irritated, we're in self-doubt. But where I really fell down here as an overthinker, as an ex-corporate, as an action taker, is that although I work with spiritual coaches and meditation specialists, I didn't have the time to become an expert at those things to shift my business. And I really started to see that actually the actions we take in our business, by changing the actions, we can shift the energy. We can shift the feelings and the thoughts, by sometimes starting with actions. And here's some that some of my clients have told me, and I resonate deeply, that they're stuck in going over that 60 minutes again, over delivering and feeling irritated with themselves, struggling with missed payments and falling into worry and doubt, or having an overbooked calendar, or getting so stressed out because we're on this content hamster wheel, feeling overwhelmed and even just feeling bored. These things are not going to help you align with your soul client. And oftentimes we have to work on changing the way we work with clients first and foremost, so we can create a spaciousness to attract the clients that we most want to work with. Just taking a pause for a moment and invite you to elevated congruence. Just take a moment. Where are you working with clients where you are stepping out of congruence and behaving with your boundaries in a way that you know is not that empowered way that attracts the clients that you most want to work with? Because of course, we're all energy, we're all frequency. And if we're behind the scenes working in certain ways, and yet we want to attract clients who are much higher up the frequency scale, this is an invitation to make that change by spotting what that is first and foremost. And when I say we want to work with elevated, high vibe clients, I'm going to go into a bit more detail now about how to market to them, because it's easy to say, I really want to work with those clients, but it's also easy to end up working in a way that doesn't attract them in our market. And I'm going to talk about levels of marketing consciousness. And it's a scale where people sit in one of four places. Doesn't mean that they're always in those places. They can move between them, and you may recognize that you yourself have moved between them. The lower energies here are the ones that we least want to attract. Doesn't mean they can't be good clients for others, but I'll bet there's no one in this room that is a good match with a reactive or a willful client. They say things like, it's just got to work. They're needy and desperate, or I will get it done, pushing and striving, and yet very quickly falling off of that momentum because we can't push for that long. Typically people going into burnout, and they're not going to complete your program and show up with the energy you want. There are people out there successfully marketing to them with struggle agitation all the time, talking about the pain points and the struggle, because these people identify with that. Drone marketers particularly will use things like false scarcity and false urgency. Buy now or you will never succeed. We ourselves are unlikely to be attracted to that kind of messaging. That doesn't mean we never have. Yes, at the beginning of my business, I was very reactive. I was buying $27 courses like they were going out of fashion and never completing any of them, right? It was just like, I got to try something new. This is not a way for us to market the clients that we want to attract. We want to attract is at the higher levels of marketing consciousness. They're the intellectual and intuitive. They often embody a piece of both, a bit of each. The intellectual says it just makes sense. She's got a lot of rationale and reasoning, and she's motivated by feelings of security. She often made good choices and see results. And the intuitive says it just feels right. These people, they come into your world, they're like, I just got to work with you. Oh, yes. Oh, by the way, how many sessions is it? How much does it cost? Or if they're a bit of intuitive and intellectual, they'll say, it feels right. I just need to know the details. I want to sit on this for a couple of days, a couple of weeks, and then I'm ready to jump in, because they trust divine timing. They're not the clients that we need to sign up while they're on a call and all of this stuff that sometimes we're taught within this industry. We have great conversations and they come into our world. They're really motivated by intuitive nudges. Now, how do we market to them? Now, in my experience, there are two key ways that really attract these high-end clients. And this is, instead of agitating their pain point, it's about talking about their future-paced desires. You may have heard of belief shifting. It's something I teach with my copywriting guides. It's like we need to be able to have them identify with what we're saying, because we deeply see them and we see what they really want. This is how we develop promises for our offers that really engage and attract clients. But we also market with integrity, and we demonstrate our expertise and our authority, because these clients look to thought leaders. They want to work with people who are shining a light and leading the way. And every one of you is doing so, but you may not be expressing this in your marketing. And this is where that connection with those high-level clients really starts to take effect. Now, again, take a pause. Which levels of consciousness have you been marketing to? Can you see perhaps a disconnect here where you're like, oh, yeah, I have been doing a little bit of that and I was taught that, or I was following a mentor, or I wasn't really understanding that if I want high level clients, there are high level ways of marketing to them. Now, there's also, of course, the actual messaging. When we're hiding our light, we're shrinking our message, we have to really get into the idea of elevated messaging, which is something that I specialize in. I love the idea of elevated messaging. And I developed my RAD3 value messaging system, which is simple to explain, but not always simple to implement. I'm going to give you some of the key questions that are going to take you forward in really being able to express yourself in that way that attracts those high level clients. These are the 3 ingredients. They are resonant, which is the know, like, out that know, like, and trust, and authority, which is about evoking trust with your expertise. And I take that one step further into the D of the RAD3, which is desirability, which means you're actually getting booked, which, we don't want to miss that part out. Know, like, and trust is great. We also want to transform lives with the power of our transformative work. We want to fit in overflow in our businesses. Now, I've seen many coaches who have some of these, but they're not getting the sales that they really want. So I'm going to share these key questions that you need to ask yourself to make sure you're primed to deliver all of these ingredients in your comms, because each one is essential to elevate your client attraction. Now, I'm going to share 6 of the key questions that I help my clients articulate, but there are far more. But if you get these 6, you're going to be already changing the game with your marketing and your messaging. So let's look at resonance. First question, is your brand positioning a reflection of your unique gift? What's your brand positioning? How do you differentiate yourself? When people find you on social media or they come across you in conversations and networking, how do you stand out? And that is the number one question that I help all my clients answer. Because unless you can answer that, it's going to be very difficult to have clients say, you're the one, you're the person I need to work with. And in worst case, you can make a great case for why it's really important to do energetics, for example, and then they go off and work with somebody else, which I've seen happen before. Secondly, who exactly is your elevated soul client? Now, everyone in this room will at some point have been asked, who do you want to work with? Who is your ideal client? And will have done exercises, often in a very first module of a very big program that's teaching you a strategy. They'll say, oh, by the way, make sure you've got your messaging. I discovered joining a very expensive program to actually teach me the particular business skills that they gave me a little messaging piece at the beginning, just a few years ago. And I couldn't nail my messaging and I couldn't get the results from the program because I was in that transition phase and I was evolving and I was up leveling. And because of that, I didn't get all the results that I needed from that. And interestingly, a few people in that program then came to work with me because they too had failed to get results. And they were like, if I don't nail this messaging bit and exactly who I work with, and the clients then are elevated and how to talk to them and understand what they need to hear, it is pointless me joining these expensive programs because I can't do the marketing. Right, let's look at the middle one, authority. Now, this is about building trust. And I mentioned earlier about thought leader energy. Thought leaders in our industry shine and lead the way by having opinions. And so many, even really driven women, struggle to even think, well, what are my opinions? And others have experienced or fear judgment online and are afraid to express them. But there is a way to share your opinions, often in belief shifting posts, that enable you to position yourself as a thought leader for those high level people. And also, are you sharing a proven method? These are things we often call frameworks, processes, systems. Oftentimes we have them behind the scenes because that's what we follow when we teach, but they are a fantastic tool in our marketing. If you can develop a framework that is easy to articulate. My framework is in 3 simple parts that I shared with you earlier: the messaging, the marketing, and the energetic, all of which have a number of teaching modules that either in one-to-one I work my clients through personally or within my group program. Some of those are self-paced. But they all sit under my framework and teach those three core aspects. When you get that, you're able to market, "Oh, this is kind of meta, but what am I doing right now? I'm sharing these with you and I'm helping give value. And I'm also explaining to you how I work in a way that you might even picture yourself and how that might work if you needed to work with me or wanted to in the future. And this is what I teach my clients to do," kind of meta. But this is it. This is being able to show up and prove that you have a proven system so a client can feel, "You know what, if I work with that person, I'm going to get the outcome that I want." Right, desirability, how to get booked. Can you articulate your potent offer from it? Now, you've probably got an offer that is just out of this world, and you've taken clients through it and you've seen these incredible results. But sometimes it's really hard to build that sales page, to really show up on a live and sell it, because we don't know how to articulate the promise, what's someone going to get? Often linked to not being able to explain exactly who that person is, not being able to explain exactly what they want and need, and how this program matches that perfectly. Which kind of leads into this last point. Are you expressing the true value of your work to your potential clients? And this, I guess, is probably the number one question. When we fail to express the value of our work, then clients don't think it's a now thing. They're not like fully sold into going, "I need to do this, I need to have a conversation, and I need to sign." And actually, whatever price point it's set at, it's more than worth it for the result that I understand I'm going to get from the work that I'm going to do. So which of those RAD 3 steps are you missing? Is it around authority or expertise? Is it around the articulation of the value of your work? And what's it costing you and your business to not be able to deliver more of the transformational work and spend more time delivering the gift rather than worrying about your marketing? Not to spend all my time thinking about what to say, because I've done that work. So I can spend way more time practicing my gift because my marketing is running smoothly. So I have energizing and inspiring clients. You get to choose who you work with. And those people are the ones that appreciate the value of your work. And funnily enough, those people that appreciate the value of your work, you don't have to over deliver. You can see that now virtuous circle working, where we can work with spaciousness and our clients are still getting phenomenal results. And of course, we're creating consistent income and that feeling of safety in our business. I don't work with champagne lifestyle entrepreneurs. I work with spiritual people that often will articulate their most desired feeling is just grounded and safe, which is how I feel about my business. I want to know that 12 months from now, I'm going to still be doing this amazing work with safety, my clients getting great results, and making a big impact in the world. This is possible when you articulate your intuitive brilliance and express the value of your work. And basically, I'm going to say, well, how do you do that? And it's simple. You can follow what I've taught you. You can certainly apply this in your business. And if you're someone that wants more support and you want to step forward and do this as a now thing, I'm really excited to invite you to come along to a free messaging clarity session with me. If one-to-one, I give instant feedback on what I see as your messaging gaps. I'll take a look at your online places. And if we're a good fit, I could help you elevate your soul client attraction. And I can share a little bit more about how I do that. If that's something you want to go ahead with, you can just go to this link that I'm sharing here, joannaingram.link/ready. But similarly, if you just want a little DM chat, come and find me on Instagram. It's at IamJo.Ingram. And that is me today. Thank you so much.